everybody, Kash here. I want to thank you for tuning in to this segment. I want to talk today a little bit about psychology aspect of getting results. If you've seen any of my previous videos the last couple of weeks, we touched on low-calorie diets, how important are calories? Are all calories created equal? We touched on the low-carb diets, why those diets ultimately fail in the end. Today I want to touch on something that I think a lot of people struggle with as pertaining to getting started with a diet and also staying consistent on a diet, and then even after they get the results they want, keeping the results. And there's an underlying thing that I don't think a lot of people really understand that's actually happening, or shall I say working against them. And it's our own limiting beliefs, okay? Which goes hand in hand with our identity. Okay, if you have the identity of a fat person or overweight person, you're always going to be fighting a losing battle. And what I mean by that is, for example, you can lose, I'm not saying you can't get results, you could possibly lose 50 pounds or even more, and all of a sudden you gain it all back because you see yourself, as a overweight person. So you got to think, your belief system about who you are is always going to go hand in hand with ultimately the actions that you take. So in your subconscious mind, if you truly feel that, I'm always been overweight my whole life, diets never work for me, or every time I lose weight, I gain everything back, then guess what? You're always going to be overweight. That goes hand in hand really with everything. For example, you may have tried a few diets before, lost 5-10 pounds, and then ultimately gained everything back. You may have a circle of influence of friends that are always overweight. They eat whatever they want because they, like you, may say, diets, that's just a quick fix. That never really gets me what I ultimately want. I'm never going to have, the body I want to have, the results that I'm going to keep. So why even bother dieting? Well, that's a limiting belief, To give you an example in a life sense, for example, say you're a young male or young female, let's just say male, for example, and you're in your early 20s. And then say throughout your childhood, your mother cheated on your father, okay? And let's say you have an older brother, and his wife basically did the same thing. Say you have a close friend that you're in college with, and his girlfriend cheated on him. You're now going to go into each relationship with a girl thinking that it's only a matter of time before she does this to me, because your belief system is that all women cheat, okay? Which, is that true? No, that's not true, okay? But you can make that true as it can possibly be. I mean, you don't understand the power of the subconscious mind. If you sit there over and over again and say, 2 plus 2 equals 7. 2 plus 2 equals 7. 2 plus 2 equals 7. Over and over and over every day, you're going to believe that 2 plus 2 equals 7, even though it's not what it really is, okay? It's the same thing with everything else. If you truly think that you are destined to be fat, you're destined to be overweight, okay, you're always going to be overweight. Even if you do go 100 miles an hour, get on a plan, full throttle, drop 20, 30 pounds, it's only a matter of time before you gain all your weight back. And then you're sitting there, you don't even know why. Because your subconscious mind is basically pulling all the strings. So you don't even realize it while you're self-sabotaging yourself. You're eating pizza, you're doing ice cream, you're doing this. Not that you ultimately really want to, it's just that your belief system is of someone who is overweight. So it's only a matter of time before you're going to take those actions to go hand in hand with your belief system. So you must, and I'm telling you, if you haven't begun a diet yet, or say have you already on a diet, and if this relates to you, if you've dealt with this problem before and you really don't understand why you gained the weight back, I could pretty sure tell you that the reason for this is it's all about a belief system that goes hand in hand with your identity. Okay, maybe you grew up around an overweight family. Mom and dad's overweight. your earliest recollection, if I was to ask you, going back to your earliest memory, you probably don't even know when this identity of an overweight person took shape. All you know is you've been fighting this weight battle your whole life. So growing up as a child, your mom and dad may have never really paid attention to you, whether you wanted fast food or candy or sweets or anything like that. They were overweight themselves. You saw them as somebody who's overweight. So now, and from a standard standpoint, you think that that's the way I'm supposed to be. Look at my parents. So one or two things are going to happen. Either you're going to see that and it's going to motivate you to go in the opposite direction, especially if your parents start having, say, certain health issues, okay? Which usually that's what it takes. You see your mom, maybe she becomes a diabetic, your dad has a heart attack, whatever. Some form of health issue. Now you see firsthand, okay, I don't want to go through that. I don't want for myself to experience that. And then if I have kids, or say I already have kids, I don't want them to go through the pain that I had to go through watching my mother or my father or whoever we're talking about, your circle of influence that was overweight and had health issues. I'm not sure if you ever heard the story of the two boys and the bad father. It goes kind of hand in hand with obviously what I'm talking about, but overall, you had these two boys that ultimately grew up and they're in their 30s, almost 40 years old. They're only a few years apart. And they were on totally different type of paths. Okay? One son was a drunk, he was a drug addict, and he was abusive to his family. Okay? The other son had his own business, was successful, had a family, was a positive member of society. So they did an interview with them, and they asked them both very similar questions. The first son, they asked him, they said, why has your life turned out the way it has? You and your brother, grew up in the same environment. Why has your life shaped up to be what it has become? You're a drunk, you're a drug addict, you're abusive to your family. And his answer was, well, look at my father. I grew up, my dad was a drunk, he was a drug addict. He beat on my mom and me and my brother. Look at the way I am. How else do you expect me to turn out? Okay? Because they wanted to know what was his motivation to become where he is. The other son, for example, they asked him the same question. They said, what is your motivation? How have you become successful? You're a good family man. You're a positive member of society. What was your motivation? And his answer was pretty much identical to his brother. He said, with a father like I had that was abusive, a drunk, a drug addict, beat on me and my brother and my mom, how else was I supposed to turn out? I didn't want to, walk in those shoes. So it's the same thing when you have a family, that is overweight or really not health conscious when it comes to foods. You can take one or two steps. You can basically say, well, that's just the way it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be like them and go in that direction, okay? Or you can make the decision and say, you know what? I don't want to go down that path. And just because they have their own limiting beliefs and they don't believe that they can get lean, they've never been lean, they're always overweight, that does not mean that I have to be overweight and I cannot lose weight. So I just want to encourage you going forward, like I said, whether you're on a diet or you're about to begin a diet, don't let your limiting beliefs hold you back. If you have an identity issue where you see yourself that you're always overweight, you need to realize and be aware that until you realize that, that is not who I am. You got to realize my poor decision making, lack of exercise is the result of where I am today, and I'm unhappy. I understand that, I am not giving my best. It has nothing to do that I'm destined to be overweight, that diets don't work. It's none of those things. You got to realize that, and until you do, you're never really going to get the results you want. I don't care how many diets you get on, or how many coaches you hire, or how many diet plans you buy. Until you resolve this issue, you're really not going to get what you ultimately want. So like I said, I really encourage you going forward to really think about what's really been holding you back. And of course, you have the power and the control to dictate on what you really want to look like. So best of luck to you. Thank you for tuning in today. If you have any questions or any concerns regarding this, please go to our website, www.bodiesbycash.com, or also sign up for our newsletter at the website. Thank you again.